All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. It is.
Buddy.
You okay? 5:53 Saturday night. The race is in 12 hours, 13 hours. The Hokie Half. Hey, buddy, careful! There's safety pins. Golly, this kid's reckless. The Hokie Half Marathon is tomorrow. Had the packet pickup, which was basically just this, the safety pins, and then this shirt. I'm not a Tech fan, but occasionally I'll find myself at a Tech game, so at least now I have something maroon and orange to wear to it, huh? So there's that. It's gonna be about 60 degrees and rainy tomorrow. So original plan was to have Liz just kind of like try to be near the course to get some shots, because I'm gonna be running and I don't really want to have to worry about filming anything while I'm running. So might get no shots of the race tomorrow, other than maybe one at the finish line, and then I'll obviously do a recap post-race. But legs are feeling good. I'm tapered. I feel like I've tapered pretty well, maybe too well. But the nutrition plan, I'm gonna have some electrolytes tonight. I've been focusing.
Is this bottle he's drinking?
No, I'm focusing on staying hydrated throughout the day, and then we'll hit some electrolytes again tonight. Second serving of electrolytes today, just to make sure we're nice and hydrated for tomorrow. I'll also have a BPN electrolytes, a strawberry flavor. These are Go Sticks in the bottle that I'll carry with me, just because I ran with water and electrolytes, these electrolytes specifically, all during training. So instead of doing Gatorade tomorrow, I'm sticking with what I know. So I'll get water from aid stations, and then, can you bring it to me, buddy, so I can show them?
Bring it to Daddy.
Can I have it?
He's learning simple commands.
Bring it to Daddy. Can you bring it to Daddy? He's not gonna bring it to me. But anyways, that's the bottle I'll have with me with electrolytes in it, and then I'll get water from aid stations. So that's the during race hydration. Pre-race, 2 scoops G1M Sport per usual, and then I'll eat a honey stinger waffle. I actually bought the honey and the salted caramel just because I don't know which one I feel like having tomorrow. But and then mile 4.5, birthday cake, goo. Mile 9, campfire s'mores goo. And hopefully we come in close to that 2-hour mark tomorrow. That is the goal. I feel like it's definitely doable, and I am mentally prepared to leave it all out there. Like I said, rainy, 61 degrees. Sounds great to me, sounds perfect. It's a hilly course, but I train on hilly courses, so that doesn't sound too bad. I don't know how big, like how hilly we're talking. I remember I looked at the elevation gain. I just can't see when the elevation gain happens, but it's pretty similar to what I normally run. So it shouldn't be anything I'm not used to. I've done all the training, all the work. This is obviously just a stepping stone towards the end goal, which is the full marathon, which full marathon training begins for me tomorrow, Monday. I'll probably end up pushing. I always have a rest day worked into the week. I'll probably put that rest day tomorrow or on Monday, because I plan to go pretty hard tomorrow. And if I go hard and leave it all out there, I'm not gonna have anything left in the tank on Monday when the training is supposed to start. So we'll probably push the training back a day. But yeah, I feel good. I feel kind of nervous, but I'm ready for it. I know I'm gonna finish. The first half marathon I did, I was scared I wasn't gonna finish. I'm not scared of that this time. It's just, how fast will I finish? What my time will be is the only question left to answer. I'm excited. Well, I guess I'll see you in the morning. It's been a few days since the Hokie Half Marathon. We are back home and getting ready. Now we're in marathon prep at the time of filming this, but I wanted to run you through the race, how it went, and just the full story. So I ended up running it at a 9:39 pace, 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 1 second was the official chip time. I'm pretty happy with it. My goal was sub 2 hours and 5 minutes. I'll explain some things that I learned from this race that I think I can do better in the future that prevented me from getting to that time. But race morning, got up. I had the waffle, G1M Sport, everything I just ran through in the last clip, and got over to the course, started stretching. The national anthem, the like pre-race music, just like there's some food out there, massage tables, like that stuff was all at the finish line. So that was where you like got there, and we all stretched there. Everyone's warming up, play the national anthem, and then it was a half-mile walk to the start line. So I said bye to Liz and Luca there, and I walked over to the start line. All of us did. It took about 8 minutes or so. It was nice to kind of like help get your body a little warmer. Obviously I warmed up and stretched and stuff, but I got to the start line ready. I was feeling good, and about some point on the walk or getting close, I was just like listening. I didn't have my headphones in yet. I was listening to groups around me, and I passed these people that looked a lot faster than me, and they were talking about, like, they said something along the lines of they felt bad for people who this was their first time running this race, because right when you think it's over, you hit the hill on mile 12 that takes you to the finish line. And so I was like, okay, mentally take a note, Hunter. There's going to be a mile-long hill to finish the race. Save some in the tank. So race goes off. I kind of put myself in the middle of the pack. They originally were supposed to have like 2 groups, and I was going to be at the back of the first group, because I was like, if you're going to run a sub 2:05 time, you're going to be at the first group, 2:05 and longer the second group. So I was just going to put myself in the back of the first group, because I felt like that would be where I wanted to be pacing wise. But I guess they didn't have enough racers sign up, so we're all one group. So I just kind of put myself in the middle. And first thing I had learned at my first half marathon, I feel like I did good there, that I wanted to carry over to here, was not pass people at the beginning. So with like 5Ks and stuff, I went out, passed a bunch of people at the beginning, gassed myself out. So in this race, I was like, make sure we go out, we try to hit our pace, but be very smart about when we're passing, how we're passing, and we're not zigzagging around people and wasting energy. So we started up the hill, and then turned and went up another hill. It was kind of a gradual hill to kick the race off. And I was smart with it. I would just kind of, over the first 2 miles, it was just kind of feeling myself out, making sure my body was ready, make sure I was feeling good, and try to get with a group that was running my pace was kind of my goal. And luckily what ended up happening was there was kind of, the slower runners ended up kind of going to the right. We were taking up a whole highway, so slower runners kind of went to the right, really faster runners were going to the left. And so I was able to just kind of like slowly find the group that was running at about that 9:40-ish pace. So I found that group. I found a few people that were running that pace that looked experienced. That's kind of what I just judge on. And I just paced myself with them. So there was a group of like few, like I think two guys and 3 girls or something like that, that were running in front of me. They were all kind of running together, and they were running it like right at that 9:40 pace. So I just chilled behind them and just kind of cruised with them for the first mile or 2, and then they slowly broke off, and I just kind of picked which one was kind of going my pace and rode with them. So I was just kind of cruising behind them, and once we hit, I believe like mile 2-ish, was a big downhill kind of started. And it was a downhill to flat to downhill. We ran through like a parking lot, and by mile 3 or 4, we hit the Huckleberry Trail, which is basically just a paved trail through the countryside. So it was like some wooded area, some like grassy fields, and that was I knew this going in, but the Huckleberry Trail was gonna spit us out at like I believe mile 10, somewhere in mile 10, around that area. So I knew once I hit the Huckleberry Trail around mile 3, I had about 7 miles on this thing. And I'm not a huge fan of running on just like a trail, because just staring at nature kind of gets boring on a run when you're, some of those miles start to get the dark miles where you're kind of going to a dark place and trying to like get your body, quiet your mind and just listen to how your body truly feels and not what your mind's telling you. And when all you can look at is trees, it's hard to do that for me. But the downhill, by like mile 4, I was kind of at the bottom of the downhill, and I didn't know this course at all. So what I didn't know at that time that I do know now was that was the lowest I was going to get. And from mile 4 to mile 13 was just going to be net uphill, drastically getting increasingly more uphill. It wouldn't have changed anything realistically, but by the time I got later in the race, that wore on my mental state. So around mile 4.5, I took my first gel. Things were feeling great. I was still cruising at about that I believe I'd have to look at my pacing chart again, but I believe I was still cruising around that 9:30, 9:40 pace. Heart rate, that was one thing, is basically immediately as soon as I started, my heart rate jumped to 180 according to my watch. I know that wasn't true. It was probably for the best, because my heart rate for the race says I averaged 177. I know that's not true, because I'm cruising on the race. I'm breathing pretty lightly. I don't feel out of breath at all. I don't feel tired at all. I was running at a pace I could talk at 9:40. Some of the times I was even breathing through my nose. And when I do speed work is when I hit like 180, 185, and I'm like, so I know what it feels like. So it was kind of good, because the watch, I feel like the heart rate can sometimes mess with my mind when I'm trying to pace myself. So early in the race, I realized watch data, as far as my heart rate goes, is not going to be accurate. So I think that helped, because I had to just truly trust my instincts and trust how I felt currently, and do like an inventory every mile or 2 miles to see like, how are you actually feeling? So I think that was actually really beneficial for me. So then basically how my pacing idea worked in my head was miles 1 and 2, feel myself out, make sure I'm good, warm up into the race. Miles 2 through 10, I wanted to just cruise at like 9:30, 9:40 pace, not really worry about my pace, just kind of, again, feel myself and check my watch like once a mile. And that's what I was doing. I was doing good at it. I was cruising. We get off the trail and we kind of make a turn at mile 10, and I look down, and I've been doing exactly what I planned to do. I was just kind of cruising at that pace. Mile 9, I took my second gel. So that was my last gel, was mile 9. I had obviously my electrolytes with me. I was making sure I was sipping on those, and I was getting water at every aid station, which was first one was at mile 3.1, and then it was every 2 miles after that. So every 2 miles I was getting water, and then I was sipping on electrolytes. I hit mile 10, and this is where the game plan kicked in, which was what I wanted to do was mile 10 on, treat it like a 5K, and I wanted to race. So when I started doing it, I would just pick someone in front of me, and I wanted to just slowly increase my pace and pass them. And then that was all I was focused on, was pass that person. Okay, now slowly increase my pace, pass that person, and just slowly start picking people off. And that was where my mind shifted to once I got to mile 10. So 5K left. Mile 10 came in a 9:09 pace. Super happy with that, because again, I wasn't super concerned about pace. I was just picking person off in front of me. And the hill started to get more intense. And so I was really just buckling down. I knew I had 3 miles left, and so I was pushing myself quite a bit on these hills, and so I was starting to pass people left and right. And at this point, mile 10 and mile 11, my legs are feeling good still, like really good. Like I was cruising. So mile 10, 9:09, mile 11, 9:09 again, I think. And then I finished mile 12. So I'm in mile 13, because I just finished mile 12. So it might have been, so technically mile 11 and 12 were the 9:09, because then I have mile 13 to run, and then the 0.1 after. So the mile 12 marker is what I hit. So I just finished mile 12, and I turned, and sure enough, just like the guy said at the beginning, I was cruising on a flat towards the end. My watch tells me 9:09. And we turn this corner, and then it's uphill. And mentally I know, okay, mile 12, uphill, rest of the way in. Here we go. So I turn, start going up the hill, and I'm still feeling good. And I get maybe half a mile in, probably a little less than half a mile in up this hill, and we're still going uphill. It got like some like little plateaus in the hill, but you're still going up. So it was an intense finish here. And my right calf just caught for a second. Like it just kind of like shooting pain. I felt it just tense up for just a split second. I was like, oh boy. So I still had a decent bit of electrolytes left. Immediately started pounding that, because I'm like, okay, I need to get sodium in my body. I don't have salt tabs or anything. Started pounding that. And then like 5 or 6 steps later, fully cramps. My calf does, my right calf. There's no way I'm running on it. So I stepped over to the side, started stretching it out. I got it loose, got it feeling a little bit better. Took a few more steps, calf cramp again, stepped over, stretched, and at this point I'm getting close to the top of the hill. Like I can see where the runners are starting to like flatten up ahead of me, and it's still a ways away, but I'm like, okay, at this point we don't want to throw everything out the window. We've worked too hard to get to mile 12 right here during this race and just in training. Let's be smart. Walking didn't hurt it. So I started walking, and then I just slowly picked up my pace, and then got to the top of the hill, turned. That was about mile 13. I had to run a little bit funny to make sure my calf wasn't hurt, because I think part of it was going up that hill. I was really like on my toes a little bit more than I typically run, and I think that was engaging my calf a little bit more, which is part of what made it cramp. In my opinion, is what it felt like. And then once I got to mile 13, the last 0.1 was kind of downhill. So ran downhill, finished 2:06:01 was my official time, chip time, and I was happy with it because I knew this race wrecked me. So like after my first half marathon, I had a lot left in the tank. After this half marathon, I like limped the car. It hurt it when I was sitting there. If I turned, my legs were cramping. It wrecked me. So I felt good about that because I knew it meant I left it all out there. So I was proud of that. And I felt good about my time because I also knew without that calf cramp, the effort I put in was good enough for my goal. I showed up training and everything. My body was in the shape to do it. My nutrition, I think, is what fell a little shy. I ended up only having the one serving of electrolytes in my bottle, and which is what I typically run with, but I think what it was I typically have a bottle of water and a bottle of electrolytes, and I alternate them. And with there being more water on the course, because instead of like, okay, mile, I'm gonna take a few sips of water, when you get to an aid station, there's a lot more water in those cups. So I think I was consuming a lot more water to my electrolyte ratio than I typically do. And so what ended up happening is by the time I got to mile 12, my 16-ounce bottle of electrolytes was probably only half consumed instead of being pretty much all the way consumed. So I think my nutrition plan going in of drinking the electrolytes throughout the race was the right plan. And had I actually done it more effectively, I think I wouldn't have had the problem. But because I didn't drink the electrolytes early enough in the race and at a fast enough pace early in the race, then when my body actually needed them, it was too late for me just to chug them. That's what I think happened. I'm not a scientist by any means. I could be way off, but yeah, really proud of the race. Really proud of the effort. I got a finisher T-shirt, which was cool, and a medal, of course. I expected the medal, didn't expect the T-shirt. So it was a great race. I really enjoyed it. It was hillier than my first one. Ended up being I believe, 19-minute PR. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the chip time from my first one to chip time to this one was 19-minute difference. I felt way more prepared out there. And like I said, I emptied the tank, no doubt about it. My legs actually still are a little tired. This is now Thursday. And like I said, I'm now in marathon training mode, which will do the next week's episode will be this week's vlog. So that'll be exciting, week 1 of marathon training. But hopefully that kind of covers the whole thing. If you just listen to this whole thing, thank you. I just wanted to share, I feel like I've shared the whole training journey up to this point and wanted to share what happened on race day with you all, because so many of you have been a part of it. You've been encouraging me. It's been awesome. And like I said, I'm proud of the effort. We left it all out there. I did all that my body would let me do and that I can be proud of. And now we've learned some more stuff that we can take into marathon training and not make the same mistakes that we made during this race. And in this race, we cleaned up a lot of mistakes we made in the first race we ran. So things are improving, things are going. It's been great. Let me know in the comments down below what type of content you want to see more of during this marathon prep. I know a lot of you have been liking the day in the life stuff I've done some. Maybe I'll do more focused on specific workouts I'm doing versus the week-long vlogs. But let me know in the comments if you've watched to this point. That means you're a real diehard, which means your opinion is what I value the most. So be sure if you're watching this to comment what you enjoy the most from the content I put out on this channel. I know some of you have asked for disc golf content. That's not what this channel is about. This channel is just for me to vent and have an accountability partner, being you, in my running journey, so that I have a few hundred of you, which now it's over 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome, but a few hundred of you who watch these regularly that can keep me accountable. So on weeks when I don't feel like running, I remember, hey, you got these people waiting for you. So that's why this channel exists, and that's why there's not gonna be disc golf content. But hopefully that answers everything. It's late, I'm tired, I'm going to bed, and I'll see you next week.